Today, crypto gets its first set of global rules from the International Organization of Securities Commissions. Hong Kong will soon start accepting license applications for crypto exchanges to operate in the region. And Mike Brock of TBD breaks down the firm's new Web 5 identity platform from Bitcoin 2023. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Jordan Smith. Crypto prices in the green across the board today. Bitcoin surpassed the $27,000 level once again. Ether traded higher above $1,800, and the Matic token also jumped more than 2%, all as of noon Eastern. All right, let's talk about the top stories. Reuters dropped a new report this morning alleging that Binance commingled customer funds with company revenue, breaking U.S. financial rules that require customer money to be kept separate. In this report, Reuters cited three sources familiar with the matter who claimed that the alleged commingling happened in 2020 and 2021. One of the sources reportedly said the sums ran into billions of dollars and that the commingling happened almost daily in accounts the crypto exchange held at Silvergate Bank. Reuters reported that it couldn't independently verify the figures or their frequency, but that the news outlet did review a bank record allegedly showing that in February 2021, Binance mixed $20 million from a corporate account with $15 million from an account that received customer money. Three former U.S. regulators reportedly told Reuters that those money flows at Binance indicate a lack of internal controls to ensure customer funds were clearly identifiable and separate from company revenue, and that the alleged commingling put customer assets at risk by obscuring their whereabouts. Now, Reuters noted that it found no evidence that Binance client monies were lost or taken. We reached out to the DOJ, CFTC, and SEC to see if those agencies are investigating the claims presented in the Reuters report. An SEC spokesperson told us the agency doesn't comment on the existence or non-existence of a possible investigation. A CFTC spokesperson declined to comment, and we didn't hear back from the DOJ right away. In a statement posted on Twitter, the chief strategy officer for Binance called the report, quote, weak and full of conspiracy theories with, quote, zero evidence other than a former insider. Next, the International Organization of Securities Commissions unveiled the first global approach to regulating crypto today, and they pulled from lessons learned from the FTX collapse that sparked concerns over consumer protection. The proposed standards include dealing with market manipulation, cross-border regulatory cooperation, custody of crypto assets, and treatment of retail customers. The 18 measures proposed apply long-established safeguards from mainstream markets to prevent conflicts of interest between different parts of a crypto transaction. The International Securities Watchdog aims to finalize standards by the end of the year, and it expects its 130 members worldwide to use the guidelines to plug gaps in their rulebooks. Last, Hong Kong will let crypto firms register to serve retail investors starting next month. According to an announcement from the Hong Kong Securities and Futures Commission, new regulatory guidelines for crypto trading platforms will go into effect on June 1st, and those guidelines lay out custody requirements, rules on clear segregation of client assets, and more. Applications for licenses also launch on June 1st, and the SFC says platforms who don't apply should plan on leaving the region. Now, Hong Kong's influence in the crypto space has been growing as it's become more friendly to crypto businesses, despite a crypto crackdown in mainland China. All right, on to our last big interview from Bitcoin 2023, this time with Mike Brock of Block's decentralized platform division, TBD. Brock explains the company's new Web 5 identity platform, but how did we jump from Web 3 to Web 5? He explains.
So Mike, one of the big initiatives of the TBD team that you lead is working on Web 5. Where did Web 4 go? How did we jump from Web 3 to Web 5? Break it down for somebody who doesn't understand what this means.
Well, look, I mean, we were trying to be a little bit funny when we came out with the word Web 5, and it was ultimately we used that term to draw attention to what we thought was just a lot of froth and no substance in this industry that was calling itself Web 3. We really wanted to send a message that people would notice that decentralization does not equal blockchain. Now, obviously, we're here at a Bitcoin conference, and uses the blockchain, and we're obviously big supporters of Bitcoin, but we actually think that decentralization is a whole series of different technologies that need to be developed. In particular, we are fundamentally focused on trying to decentralize identity on the internet that we see as incredibly centralized today.
And that's something that is like a part of the announcements that came out just this week. Can you break those down for us?
Yeah, so we're launching our Web 5 development kit this week to let developers start looking at what we've been working on these past few years at TBD. We're super excited for there to be a closer look at what we think is going to be a foundational technology for enabling a whole new class of decentralized applications around identity solutions. We think that the internet needs a new identity layer. We're still using what's called DNS today. Everyone knows, CNBC.com, block.xyz. I mean, that's the current identity layer for the internet, and it's all around securing websites at the end of the day. We need a way to secure our identity online that we can own without having to export that ownership to other companies, larger, big fintech companies, even like ourselves, or even larger platform companies in Silicon Valley. We don't think that's healthy for competition. We think that a competitive marketplace needs a open protocol for identity on the internet. And so Web 5 is really bringing together a series of open protocols, starting with DID, the Decentralized Identity Protocol, which is actually before the Open Web Standards body, the W3C, and we're also working on the Verifiable Credentials Standard, which is before the Decentralized Identity Foundation. All this stuff is open, there's nothing proprietary here, and we think that's really important for decentralization. And so that's what we're focused on right now.
You mentioned frothiness in the Web3 space. One of the big critiques is that some people feel that there aren't really very many real world use cases. So with the digital identity side of things, what are we seeing actively put to use today?
Yeah, I actually think this space is actually really interesting, and there's actually a lot more happening in the decentralized identity space than a lot of people give credit to. There are pilot programs that are happening with government here in the United States at the state level. Digital driver's licenses in California, Texas. There's a pilot program, British Columbia in Canada. There's also a DID, Verifiable Credential, pilot program with the TSA for TSA Pre, and also the Department of Homeland Security for immigration documents. And they're all using the same standards that Web 5 is working on. So these are real standards that even government is looking at. When we think that's great, obviously, if government wants to embrace decentralized standards, we think that's good for America. It's good for competition, and it's fundamentally good for consumer privacy, because these are privacy-preserving technologies, and they provide a identity layer that will allow, I think, a whole new class of applications that hasn't been possible today. So the applications are real and they're happening, and we're happy to be at the forefront of that. And Web 5 is really about trying to push a set of developer technologies that makes it super simple for developers to pick up these protocols and start using them and putting them into applications and accepting these credentials, issuing these credentials, and ultimately moving towards something that I think will provide a more competitive marketplace, a more secure marketplace, and particularly in the age of AI, where there's going to be increasing worries about the provenance of data, impersonation of individuals on the internet. We think these sorts of technologies are going to be critical for proving identity. And we don't really have a good answer for that today. Most people are using their email address on the internet as their identity, and I don't think that's going to be sufficient given the risks that we're now facing in a world of deep fakes and video and audio and chatbots, and that can come very close to simulating even our dearest family members. And we've already seen examples of this. I believe a wife was of a man was tricked by a deepfake audio of her husband over the phone, and that led to, I think, a pretty significant loss of funds for her. So those are the sorts of things that we really worry about today. As we look at AI, and I look at Web 5 as a foundational technology that can actually be an answer to providing a signal of provenance that you're dealing with the person you think you're dealing with, that the video or audio asset that you're looking at on the internet it came from where it claims to have come from, because you can use DIDs and verifiable credentials to indicate through mutual trusted third parties that is what it proclaims to be. And I think there's going to be a lot of people racing in the next 2 to 3 years as we see these threats rise for something like this. And I think the Web 5 technology is like primed to be something that people can pick up and start using to build those sorts of solutions. And we're very excited about how the ecosystem is coming together.
Yeah. So last question for you. We're at Bitcoin Miami. Attendance is down from 35,000 to around 12,000 people. We're in the midst of a bear market. What brings you back this year?
Look, I still believe that in the potential of Bitcoin to be an incredible force for good in the world. Bitcoin enables real people today to transact where digital transactions are simply not possible, particularly in the global south and in Africa and South America. Bitcoin has become a really important technology also as a remittance asset. We're obviously leaning into that at TBD. We think that Bitcoin is a great answer for moving money around the world in ways that is currently not possible today for various reasons. Sometimes it's just because the infrastructure doesn't exist in different parts of the world. And it's also a real trust layer that I think is like unmatched in terms of how decentralized it is and how secure it is. And look, I mean, some people will say we're in a bear market right now. I think all this Web3 stuff that, we started off this conversation saying that Web5 was about kind of making fun of, I feel like has kind of fizzled away. And I think that's one of the reasons why the attendance is down. But I think the core builders in this space who understand the potential of this technology are still here at this conference this year. They're still building. They're not paying attention to the price day to day, and they're fundamentally focused on unlocking those use cases that are fundamentally going to improve people's lives, and that's what we're doing, and that's why we're here.
All right, that's all for Crypto World today, but you can find all our full interviews from Bitcoin 2023 at cnbc.com/cryptoworld. We'll be back again tomorrow, and we'll see you then.